Hey, so friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Tulu, and I'm so glad you are here. This is an updated version on how to draft shirt colors, and I promise you, after watching this, you'll be a pro in drafting shirt colors. So, the first thing you have to do is to familiarize yourself with the color part so you could get along in the tutorial. Now, on my drafting paper, I am not folding it because there's no need for that. It is just a pattern. And then I ruled a straight line, which is just the basis for my collar. Now, the first thing you're going to draft is your collar stand. In order to achieve that, you are going to divide your round neck circumference divided by 2 and mark it on the line. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using 22 inches. So 22 divided by 2 gives me 11. Then I mark it out. Now the next step is to mark out your round neck circumference divided by 4. And I'm using 22 for my round neck circumference. So 22 divided by 4 gives me 5.5. And then I mark it out. Now we have two parts. So I advise you indicate it back and front in order to not to get confused. Now on the front part, that is the beginning of the front part, we are going to mark out 0.75 inches upward. And 0.75 inches is a standard measurement for drafting collar stand. Now the next thing to do is to connect your 0.5 inches to the midpoint there using your pattern master. Make sure to set your pattern master well before ruling the line. After successfully achieving that, we move to the length of our collar stand. I'm using 1 inch here for the length, but that's not a standard. You could use 3/4, which is 0.75. You could also use 1.25, but I feel 1 inch is in between and it gives me the standard length I want. Now you mark it upwards. So I marked it on the starting point of my drafting paper there. I mark it on the midpoint upwards, and I decided to extend that line upwards so you guys can see what I'm doing clearly, and then mark out my collar stand. On the front part too, I extended the line upwards and then mark out my collar stand, which is 1 inch. Now remember, on all points I use just 1 inch, which is the length of my collar stand. I maintain the same measurement. So if it is 0.75 you're using, to make sure you maintain same measurement on all points. Now from the back to the midline, that part, use your ruler to rule the straight line because that line is straight. But when you get to the front, the midline to the front, use the curved part of your pattern master because that point is actually curved. Now, if you look closely at the front of that collar stand, you see there is a curved part. So in order to achieve that, mark out 0.75 inwards from the upper part and then use the curved part, this small curved part of your pattern master, to connect it to the down part. If you don't have a pattern master, you can just use the curve ruler to do that. And that's all about our collar stand. But wait, indicate which point is the upper part in order to get confused later on. Now we move to our collar fall. And in order to achieve that, we're going to mark out 1.25 inwards from the beginning of that front line. Mark out 1.25, sorry, inwards on that our collar stand. And then we are going to cut our collar stand, but we're not going to cut it all the way through. So from this beginning, we're going to stop at that curve there, which is the 0.75 we marked that earlier on, and then cut through this point and mark and stop on our 1.25 we mark that now. Now you flip it over, but we need it to align. So we want the edge there to be equal with our drafting paper. Now you see, if I take it up, it might not be equal, take it down, it might not be equal. So I look for the perfect point where it was equal, then mark that to my line, not cut it out, mark it out. Take your collar stand back, and then we move to extending our lines, the midpoint there first, and then our front line. So I noticed that the midpoint wasn't too high, I extended it. The next step is to mark out the height of your collar stand. For me, usually I use between 1 inch to 1.25, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using 1.25 for the height. I mark it out on the back and also on the midpoint there to mark out 1.25. Then you use your ruler and then connect it to the front, the straight line to the front. The next step is to connect that 1.25 we marked that earlier on to the edge of the front there of the collar fall. Just roll it. So you can leave it this way, but I choose to give it a little bit of curve for the front. So from the upper part of the front, I'm going to mark as ½ inch upwards and then use my curved ruler to curve it, put my curved ruler on that midpoint and then give it a little bit of curve. And that is that about collar fall. Very easy, isn't it? You also want to indicate that the point that is the down part so you won't get confused later on, because seriously it is quite confusing sometimes. Now we cut it out and that is it. Now I'm going to be using this iron-on interfacing instead of my collar stay because I don't have it, but I'm going to cut it twice. Now I'm putting this on fold and cutting it out. This time around it's going to be on fold. You also want to make sure to mark which point is the down part on your collar stay too, so you don't get confused. The next step is very important. Make sure to cut off any inches added to your collar stay. Bring back your pattern and make sure you cut it off, because this thing can actually make or break you. If you add few inches either to the length or to the width, automatically you alter the measurement because it's either it won't fit in the bodies, that is your shirt bodies, or the collar is too long. Okay, now this is it. I have two for my collar stand and two for my collar fall. I'm also going to use this fabric. It's a satin fabric, but it's a doll face, and it will be on fold again, just like the interfacing. But this time around, we're going to add ½ inch round for the sewing allowance. You're going to bring back your pattern, indicate that line in order to get a perfect curve like your pattern, because your ruler is, that is the point you're going to change to use either your ruler or your curve. After doing this, do the same thing on your collar stand. Add ½ inch round. Now, for your satin fabric, you're also going to cut it 2 times. Now, if you have gotten to this point, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you could get videos when I post. Now, subsequent videos of sewing will be posted on my TikTok or on my Instagram page. So I'll leave the link there. So you can follow so you could get some tips on how to sew a perfect collar too. Bye.